All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the most exciting team in the National Football League at this point, and it's not even close. Yep, we're talking about the Saints. We're only 2 games into the season, and everyone's saying, oh, well, they're league high 91 points, 2 blowout wins. Their starters, guys, have scored on their first 15 drives together. First 15 drives together. Most of those were touchdowns, as you see with the 91 points 2 weeks into the season, but most people are saying, let's see a larger sample size. And a lot of people this week so far have been looking into the film. They've been doing the digging, the research of why is this working so well and is it sustainable? And I saw this quote here from Amon-Ra St. Brown on his podcast, I guess it was, "You guys don't move me." He said, "You caught Dallas on one of their bad games." And every team does have bad games, but folks, like, this was a domination performance. Like, it just really was. No matter how you want to cut it, whether Dallas had a bad day and New Orleans had a good day, like, a win is still a win. And it was in unbelievable fashion. So through 2 weeks, the Saints lead the league with a 51.6% rushing success rate on first and second down. All right, for reference, the San Francisco 49ers led the league a year ago in that statistic at 45.2. And a lot of their runs are going to Talicia. They're going left. And you have a superstar stud immediate left tackle starter, right? Round one pick. We knew this kid was going to be good. We knew he was eventually at least going to be a stud. We knew he was going to impact the game right away. But the consistency you're seeing right now, I mean, this is, if you can run the ball well and you have your tackles set up and you got a dude like Elvin in your backfield and you got consistent, reliable Derek Carr and you got Kubiak as your OC, like, this team is stacked up. And yeah, they're probably not going to score 44 points every single week, but you don't have to win in the NFL. So welcome back to the channel. Obviously, we're talking about the New Orleans Saints in today's video. But before we do, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Folks, we made our first ever Saints video 2 days ago. You guys absolutely blessed it. Actually, I think that was yesterday. You guys absolutely blessed it. Thank you so much. If we could try and get this one to 100 likes, again, that would mean the absolute world to me. Like I said, we're going to be ramping this up. The Saints are such an disrespected undercover team. And like I said in our last video, I have a Raiders channel and I started covering the Raiders and Derek Carr's last season. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out the Raiders defense in the last like 20 years up until last year. It was god awful, like just statistically terrible. And that's all that Derek Carr ever lacked. And now, once again, you got the stud left tackle, you have the stud offensive coordinator, you have a stud running back, you got your stud wide receiver, you got your stud in Taysom Hill. Like, this team has everything you want offensively, and we'll get to the defense towards the end of the video. They're young, they're hungry, and they are extremely fast, and that is the recipe to win in the National Football League. So, Derek Carr has taken 20 dropbacks that were both from under center and used play action, and that's been the bread and butter for the New Orleans Saints offense through 2 weeks of the regular season. And keep in mind, like, Carr only threw 16 times this past week, 11 of 16, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns, that interception, 15.2 yards per throw, yards per reception. I mean, or completion, sorry. Like, it really is insane, and he just hasn't had to do too much. And you got an interesting matchup this upcoming weekend against the Houston Texans, where not the Houston Texans, the Philadelphia Eagles. And the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm a Packers fan, they're getting decimated by the throw this season. Like, they've been decimated. Kirk Cousins, game-winning drive. Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love, they've been decimated with the pass defense. But Carr's taken 20 dropbacks that were both from under center and used play action. He has completed 12 of 18 passes for 240 yards and 3 touchdowns on those plays, including each of his deep touchdowns to Rashid Shaheed. Shaheed is one of the quickest dudes you can see. And I think if you watched the Saints last year, you realize got to find ways to give him the football. And he really just in general had a very undercovered season. But the only reason for me, the Saints, the pass protection wasn't great. The offensive line last season wasn't great. And the run game, it just correlated to a poor run game. And, if you can't run the football, unless maybe you're like Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow, but even both of those two guys, like, you have to run the football. You just have to. I've been seeing a lot of pessimism across the National Football League with all the run plays that we've seen so far. And it's like, from a game standpoint, you have to. You want to extend drives. You want to keep your defense fresh. If you're dominating the offensive line, if you're dominating the line of scrimmage offensively, you're going to put a bunch of points on the board. You're going to rip that clock together. The defense can be fresh. They're going to be energized for that second half, especially the whole game, the whole season. It's extremely important. Derek Carr, through the first 2 weeks, 30 of 39 for 443 yards, averaging 11.3 yards per attempt, 5 touchdowns, and just 1 interception. And a huge reason has been the run game that is correlating to play action. So the Saints have used play action on 52.3% of their passes compared to 14.4 last year. 14.4. Folks, Derek Carr last season was one of the best QBs in the NFL in terms of EPA on play action passes last year, but the Saints deployed play action dead last in the league. He was one of the best QBs in play action, and you used it 14% of the time. Like, that has completely changed under Kubiak and is paying dividends. And obviously, Kamara is a freaking stud still. As long as he's on the field, he's a stud. And one really interesting thing is they haven't had to do anything too crazy because of the way they're started these football games. Like, take a guy like Chris Olave, 6 catches, 98 yards. Shaheed, 7 catches for 169 yards. That's an incredible statistic. Their next leading wide receiver is Mason Tipton, who has 1 catch for 6 yards. No other wide receiver on the freaking roster has a target. Now, obviously, you're throwing it to Kamara a bunch of times. This past weekend, only 2 catches for 65 yards and a touchdown. Like, once again, Derek Carr threw the ball a whopping 16 times. They didn't really need to do anything. But it's something I'm keeping my eye on, especially this weekend against Philadelphia, because you got some dogs at that tight end room. It's extremely versatile. They've been deploying, the pass protection was a big concern heading into the year. So you've been deploying guys like Foster, Juwan as extra blockers, max protection, opening up these deep threats. Like, it's just been genius through 2 weeks. And once again, like, New Orleans isn't going to be scoring 45 points every single week. No team's going to do that. If you do that, you're going to win the Super Bowl, and you're probably not going to lose a game the entire season. But I'm really curious what the game plan is going to look like this upcoming week against Philadelphia, because especially they just put themselves on the map. But we're 2 games into the season. You have some film on the Saints offense now, but I expect a lot more versatility for an already extremely versatile offense, especially in that run and play action department this upcoming weekend. And then real quick on the defense, I know we mentioned this in the last video, but it's such an underrated defense. Like, they have 7 sacks, they have 5 takeaways. I mean, it's just crazy. Like, you saw Derek Carr throw an interception. The next play, Tyrann Mathieu, interception. So this defense has been extremely underrated. If you guys want a defensive Saints video before this upcoming Sunday, please let me know down below. But thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. And folks, once again, if you want more Saints videos, you come to the right place. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you soon. Peace.